What it do, everybody? It's your boy King Crowder back again with another edition of History You May Not Know and Things That Are Not Taught in Detail for Sure. Today's lesson is going to go over again the nadir part of race relations of American history and the great ethnic cleansing that was attempting to happen that many of us have no idea about. This is a series that I want to highlight to teach us how racial violence has been so undertaught in our educational system and that many people have no idea how many ethnic cleansing attacks against Black Americans are happening. And I'm here to shed light on it so we all know. Let's go ahead and dive into it. Today's lesson is on the Springfield racial ethnic cleansing, better known as the Springfield Race Riot of 1908. This consisted of mass racial violence committed on Black Americans by white Americans, almost 5,000 white Americans and European descendants between August 14 and August 16th of 1908. This occurred in Springfield, Illinois. This happened when two Black men were arrested for the suspect of a sexual assault and a murder of young white women. When a mob seeking revenge due to, they say, law enforcement's improper use of what they did, instead of them getting repercussions against the guys that attempted this crime, they attacked the Black community, murdering Black citizens on the streets, destroying businesses, homes, and the state militia had to come out to seize the rioting. This riot began to happen in a well-documented example of race, class, and criminal justice system inside the United States. The land of Lincoln, remember, this is the state where Abraham Lincoln was, demonstrated Black people were mistreated all across this country, not just in the South. We always think about the southern part of the United States where Black people mistreated. Most people have no idea. Most of our sundown towns come from the Midwest and from the East Coast of the United States. What happened during this crime? Almost 16 Black Americans were killed. Almost hundreds of Black residents were displaced. Many people did say the numbers were far too low, and property damage almost hit the height of $5 million in 2023 dollars. Black American homes and businesses were completely destroyed. White-owned businesses were left whole and were also meant to be sympathized with. As a result, numerous amount of Black people in Springfield just left. They moved away permanently, leaving a gaping hole in the education system, the Black population, and people that were Black thriving in that area. Let's go ahead and get the background, dive into it. In 1908, Springfield was a transportation hub because it connected the railroads between major cities of Indianapolis, Louisville, and Kansas City. Illinois is also known as a microcosm of the United States. Around this time, the population had to be around 50,000 people. This was a blue-collar American city. The economy around this time was when they saw the Panic of 1907. Remember, that's when we began to see the panics on the bank. We began to see the health restrictions of the stock market and different things occurring. 10% of the population's economy began to die. Unemployment rate began to thrive, and many people were displaced due to multiple issues going on. Well, like I like to explain to people, you must understand, Black Americans did not have access to these white banks at this time. So their businesses were already inflowing and cash flowing with each other. So a lot of the times when the people in this country were receiving harsher crimes, harsher things going on to the recession, Black Americans were immune to it. Why? Because their money had to circulate with each other. So a lot of the times when we saw these ethnic cleansing happen, you must understand, because the white population a lot of times were suffering when the Blacks kept their money with each other, spending it with each other, so they were not as struggling as low as many of the white counterparts. So when we saw this accusation being made, right, about this gentleman, and he was this local Springfield miner, he was a local miner that many people did not know. When the crime was made about him being that he did something against a local white woman around this time, they had no proof or supported evidence. So let's go ahead and look at some of the things. When we look at this period of time, we got to understand that Reconstruction was going on. Reconstruction happened between 1870 and 1890. That's when you begin to see industrialization, urbanization, where many people began to move to bigger cities in place of seeking work and refugees. Around this time, all of Americans was segregated. Jim Crow was heavy. blacks and whites were completely isolated. So they worked within their communities, made their dollars circulate, and had their own judicial system. So black men already had that bad image of a menace. If you want to look at the crimes around this area, they also had a certain ideology and a tolerance towards sexual relations. It was a taboo thing, even to this day, black men with white women. So when it was known that a Negro committed a crime sexualizing a young white woman, the antennas rose quickly. The KKK, many people made threats asking a white mob, why are you not doing nothing to hunt down this black man who infiltrated and hurt these people? They used words far as a menace, brute, beast, a fiend, inferior, all across this town, placing labels so people would not know. So around this area, when we saw these things come up, we must understand this is where the ideology and the attackness began to grow. So we saw these crimes with these Negro murderers when they knew they were assaulted. Mind you, when the people that were accused of this crime were arrested, that did not satisfy the white working class around this time. So even though these guys were arrested, they knew that they needed to do something to get back even with them. The guy that was accused of this crime was George Richardson. He was a lifelong resident of Springfield. He was a predominant black family. He worked in the area and had been Abraham Lincoln's barber. Remember, he was a black worker, tax-paying citizen, had his family on his own when he was accused of this crime. There was no evidence. There was no support system when they said, quote unquote, they found a trace of blood. Richardson was put in jail with his cellmate, Joe James, and they were accused of this crime. While in jail, it was speculation that their husbands were unwilling to cooperate because they said the claims were false. The black community at this time were emphasizing these crimes did not happen. How did this happen when he was working and with his families? The white moms around this area had a positive ID, and they thought that over 4,000 white men gathered to get the justice for these other women. Again, they began to attack, burn down, destroy the black businesses around this time. They began to kill. Even the numbers of people that began to leave were still not going. The crowd went toward the black residential areas, burned down their homes, lynched their citizens, and simply removed themselves from the incidents. Now remember, law enforcement at this time, again, as we see in most other cities, refused to arrest or attack these people that did this crime. Remember, Springfield was a heavily black tourist destination, but they all sacrificed because they did not want to do what was right. Springfield shut off his nose to despite his face. When this incident happened, the black residents left this area. Tourism went down. People that lived to the cities began to go down. Food shortages ensued. Businesses halted for almost 10 days. News spread all around this country how this ethnic cleansing destroyed this town. People were said, what happened to the black people? Many of the residents in Springfield simply moved. They went to Chicago. They went to New York, and they went to other black communities where they felt safe. The damage to their home was never corrected. The insurance company never respected. They never rebuilt, and the atmosphere around Springfield is still what it is today. If you look at the demographics, the history, and see where they still are, the remembrance of what happened to this crime, no one ever talks about. The atmosphere that happened around Springfield, the indictments were given around, people were never convicted for this crime. The murder was never solved for this lady because no one ever knew who really did it. But all we knew was that one accusation started this mass ethnic cleansing. The Springfield riot in 1908. If you're from the state of Illinois, have you heard about it? Have you heard about why there are no black residents in this specific side of town and why over $5 million in damage happened and no one was convicted of a crime? It's your boy, King Crowder, back again. Hopefully you learned something very intimate about these details. Hopefully this lesson was good for you. Please make sure you smash the subscribe button, comment, like, or join the channel. I just want to give you this hot information that was never taught to us. The Springfield race riot and how it impacted all of us. It's your boy, King Crowder, checking out. Peace.